Well, hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Kelly Bojarski, and I am stepping in today for Heather. Heather typically runs our Wednesday KV Core Success meetups, tips, tricks, and open Q&A. However, Heather is taking some very well-deserved time off. So hang on one second. I'm going to share my screen with you. Looks like we've got a couple of folks joining us today. Thanks so much for being here. Anthony, Haley, Kelsey, I see a few others in there. Do me a favor, before we get started and too deep in the weeds, let me know that you can see my screen and at the same time test out that chat button and your chat option. And let me know if you can see my pink cursor kind of spinning around here on the dashboard. Oh, thanks, Maria. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Great way to check out chat. And also let me know that you can see my screen. I can't tell you how many times I have started a webinar where, hey, it would be helpful if everybody saw what I was actually talking about. So thanks so much for being here. Looks like we've got a few more people straggling in. I am expecting a special guest today. Now, they may join us a little bit later. I don't quite see them on the webinar yet. That's okay. For those of you that have been on a success meetup in the past with one of our more senior account managers around here, Scott Carlton. He's always fun to chat with. So I've invited him to be part of our success meetup today. Hey, Scott, thanks for being here. I see you just popped in. Feel free to unmute and jump in at any time, Scott. I know that you always have great insight. I love doing these with you because you always have really great insight into some really good use case scenarios, no matter what topic we're talking about, because I know you're just as excited about and passionate about KV Core as I am. I think that's pretty safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. But
no problem.
Yeah, our clients teach me a lot.
Right? I think that there isn't a day that goes by that I don't learn something new about this really robust platform. And today, today's a little bit more of an admin geared session, not completely. We're definitely going to talk about a few things that agents can do as well, but we really want to kind of level set some information about some of the ownership, scope, and transferring and sharing of leads and how you can leverage those in the platform. Maybe clear up a few things that maybe have been a little fuzzy for you. So if you have questions, if you happen to be an admin, that's awesome. If you're an agent, that's great too. Thanks for sticking around. If you have never been on a success meetup before, remember that this is a session that is being recorded. We do not email them out. Sorry, Charles, we don't email this out after the fact, but I will do you one better. We actually place the recordings of these on our YouTube channel. So give us a little bit of time because Heather is usually the one that actually transfers these up to our YouTube channel. And so you can access these, probably give us by the end of the week when she gets back so that she can get these uploaded for us. And
so
Charles,
much good stuff there.
right?
So much good stuff in these meetings.
What is one of your favorites while I'm sharing this out with the crowd?
There's a lot of them. I would say that I know a lot of people are probably looking at the chat GPT right now for sure. But
for sure.
Hey, converting your leads with Brant Levine. This is Brant's such a wealth of knowledge, and I end up sharing that, they're getting a lead is just the first step, right? But being able to engage that lead in a way that gets them to speak to you is
meaningful.
Really, really, really important. So convert your leads with Brant Levine is one of my absolute favorites.
I'm going to share it out for people so they don't have to go looking for it.
Yeah, and make that really, and then I believe that, just the basics like starting a blog is right under that. And that was a really good one. And yes, I do watch these when I can.
Right? There's hundreds of hours of content in here that really gives you not only like the how to push the button, but why it's important to understand how to push the button and really where those strategies come in. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And for me, the time that you spend on this, if you can focus it to things that generate revenue for you, the better off you are. And so whether that's generating or converting leads, focusing our attention on that as much as humanly possible for the agents mostly. And then again, for the admins and trainers of these individual companies, a lot of my clients have trainers and, admins that really work with their agents with KV Core, and just empowering them to be able to look at this information and go get with their agents and share it. It's really important.
Super important. And we believe that sharing is caring. That's kind of a great segue into our topic today, Scott, because it's all about
Right?
sharing context. So I think before we get too deep in the weeds, it is important to understand that this is a success meetup. So Scott and I are going to chat through this topic, but of course, we're going to leave time at the end of the webinar to take any questions that you have. So if you came here specifically looking for a question to be answered about really any topic, it doesn't have to be centered around lead ownership, scopes, and transferring and sharing of contacts. It can be about anything. We're going to save some time at the end for that. So we'll stick to the topic at hand, and then we'll do a Q&A. And if you'd like to re-register for another upcoming session, be sure to scan this QR code to get back to that registration page so you can come back for another session. We hold them on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays live, and we place the recordings on our YouTube channel so you can go back and share them. So definitely want to, what is it they say, Scott? They, find this channel, subscribe, and ring that bell so that you're getting notified anytime a new.
There you go.
All right, subscribe and ring the bell. Okay, so before we get deep in the weeds, let's talk about what scopes and entities mean. There's really basically 4 different user roles within KV Core. Some of you may know this. If you're new, let me explain. There are company admins. That is somebody who controls basically all of the entities below them. There are office admins, which controls an office entity because you can have offices in the platform. We also have this great feature, which I love. And I know, Scott, you work with a lot of teams. That's kind of where your background came from, is working with a lot of teams. And a team add-on can have a team admin as well. And so that team entity is kind of like running a business within a business, which is kind of nice, but still safely tucked underneath the umbrella of the actual company or brokerage that they're part of. And then, of course, we have agent users. And for the most part, every single type of admin is still considered an agent user. Now, whether they're a practicing agent and selling actively real estate, that is a different conversation. But for the purposes of how it's set up in the platform, you also are an agent user, okay, which means you can have leads of your own that you own. So let's jump over and see what's going on with our brand new KV Core using account called ABC Realty. ABC Realty is a large, a medium-sized firm that actually has a couple of offices. They've got the Greenville office, they've got the River Blue office, and Joe, who is the company admin, oversees the entire company account. Okay. And then each office also has agents within those offices. And that office is overseen by an office admin. We'll call that admin Annie. Now, in the Greenville office here, we actually have a team that is using the platform. And so there's one team in this office in Greenville, and that's the Terry Terrific Group. They are also using KV Core in the same account as the entire brokerage for ABC Realty. And that's important to understand as we start talking about transferring and sharing of leads. And Terry's our team admin. We love Terry. Terry's terrific, right? And she runs the Terry Terrific Group, who's using the Core Team add-on that's in the company KV Core account as well. Okay, so now we know who our players are. We know what offices are out there. We know who the admins are, and we also know that there are agents within all of these offices. Okay. Now, the thing about Terry is that Terry, the team admin, is also really amazing at generating leads. And Terry generates leads not only from her personal website, but she kind of really is in charge of getting leads in for her team. And she wants to make them available for her team so that they can actively start working those leads. So when we say make available, what does that mean? What are Terry's options? Well, Terry, as the team admin, has a couple of options right out of the gate. Terry can actually transfer ownership of the leads that Terry owns and has generated, not the ones that come in through the team website, because they can come in, they're already going to be available at that team entity, but we're talking about the ones that Terry generates maybe through her own personal website. Well, Terry can actually transfer ownership right up to that team entity using a concept called transfer ownership. It's actually a feature in the platform. And Terry is an agent, because remember, she's also an admin. They're also an admin and an agent, can actually transfer contacts. That's also a concept. So there's transfer ownership and transfer contacts. And Terry is an agent, also has an option that doesn't actually transfer that lead, but it's sharing the lead with an agent. And we're going to talk about what the differences are in just a second. So it's important to understand that there's transferring and sharing. Transferring transfers the ownership, whether you're transferring it to an entity or another person, another user in the account, or they're sharing, which is a little bit different and has to do with visibility. Scott, tell us a little bit about transferring and how that moves the contact records. A couple of the pro tips that you have about this, if you don't mind.
Sure. Pro tips, I don't know about, but transferring is super important because once you transfer a lead, it is no longer yours.
I think that's the biggest pro tip right there. Once you transfer it, you actually are
It's
saying goodbye
gone.
to that lead. Goodbye lead, I'm giving you to somebody else. And that's important if you're an admin to recognize, because sometimes that may affect the visibility that you actually have into that contact. Because one of the concepts that we use in KV Core is the concept of lead privacy, which allows an agent to have their own leads, the leads they own, be made private. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. So remember when we talked about transfer ownership, and as the team admin, Terry can transfer the ownership of their contact directly to their team entity. Now, this is really, really helpful for Terry, because remember, Terry's that lead generating guru. And so they can use this to generate leads and then share them out to members on their team. And if they manually add contacts that need to actually be underneath the team's ownership, okay? But remember, it comes down to ownership. Who actually owns that lead? So we're talking about the leads that Terry owns, all right? And
Now,
so visibly speaking, and Scott, feel free to jump in here.
yeah, to be specific, when we're talking about a team admin, the only time you're running into this is if you have core team add-on.
Correct.
You
Yep.
have to have a core team add-on product. So when we're talking about teams and team admins, that is very specific to the core team add-on product. If you do not have a core team add-on, which if you're a small team and you're underneath a brokerage, you should probably absolutely do it. It'll save you a ton of money and give you total control, right?
Right.
But that is in your marketplace. If you want to go find out more about it, go to your marketplace and you'll find core team add-on within your marketplace. Check it out, get a demo, whatever. Talk to Roberto. He'll show you the ins and outs and help you out if you need that. But this entity for team is specific to those who have a KV core team add-on. I just want to be specific.
Right, and because we're literally looking at the team add-on, it's almost like a business within a business, right? It's its own entity, and that team has very specific business models that they want to run off of, and so specific rules apply. Things like teams can have their own lead routing rules. They can have their own lenders. There's a lot of real benefits of having those teams. But if I were to show you what team transfer ownership looks like, remember, this is something that is used to transfer ownership of an owned lead, that, you know, an admin owned lead, over to a team entity. So the use case here is that we'll say Jenna generated some contacts that came into her own account. So Jenna is the owner, owned by Jenna, right? She's the team admin here. And if Jenna wants to transfer this ownership of maybe Ben Test, Jenna can go click on the lead or select all. You can, you know, filter them out from however you want using the regular filters that apply. But let's just use Ben Test. And you can go here to more actions, and you'll see this additional feature show up that's transfer ownership. This will not show up in an agent account. Okay, so if you looked on my account, which Kelly Bajarski agent, I don't have this option. Okay, because I'm not an admin. But as an agent, just remember, Jenna, just like Terry, is also an agent user. I can use this option to transfer the contact, but this will transfer only to another user, not to an entity. This one transfers to an entity, meaning the team entity. Okay, so if I transfer this ownership, it's going to give me the option of the team I want to transfer it to. Now, Jenna's only a team admin for one team, which is pretty standard. That's usually how it works. But if you happen to have a team, if you have multiple teams that you run, that happens, you'll see multiple options here of what team you want to transfer it to. So that's kind of cool. There's also some features in here where you can actually choose within that team to assign it to a save filter that may already be in place, or a hashtag. Now you can't add the hashtag from scratch here. The hashtag already has to exist within the platform, but that's a nice little feature. And don't forget to click that transfer button. So that's what that transfer ownership is. Remember though that it's used for transferring to the team entity, and admins have this access. Agents, you're going to use that transfer contact option if you want to give someone else a contact. And as I mentioned, I just walked through that, but this is what it looks like. You're going to log into your account, you're going to go to the Smart CRM, and you're going to select those that you own. Remember, these are the ones that are owned by Terry, and you'll be able to transfer those using that transfer ownership. And as I mentioned before, don't forget to hit that green button right here, because if you don't, it's not going to work. It's not going to finish it off. That's like a save button, transfer it over. Now, a few things to consider or note about transferring contacts is that in most cases, you must be the owner of that contact in order to transfer the contact record. Okay. And the other thing to remember is that admins can't transfer agent-owned contacts. So Jenna couldn't go in, and if she had visibility into one of my contacts, or if she saw my contacts, she couldn't transfer my contacts because I own them. Okay, it has to do with ownership. Now, unless it's her own contact, of course, then Jenna could transfer that. But that's where ownership is really important. You can't transfer, typically you can't transfer leads unless you own them. Okay, now I will tell you that an agent can transfer a contact that they don't own to a team member or someone in their same office if the contact is owned by the company. Okay, if it's a company-owned lead and they're the assigned agent, then they can transfer it. Okay, so but the cool thing is that if you're the owner of the contact, like if it was my contact, I can transfer to any agent or admin within my account. I'm not limited to just my office or my team. So that's kind of cool. So if I have a lead that I want to, it's my lead, I own it, and I want to transfer it over to somebody from the Greenville, I'm in the Greenville office, and I want to transfer it to somebody at the River Blue office at ABC Realty, I'm not limited to just my own team or my own office. I can transfer it because I own it to anyone that's in the same KV Core account that I'm a part of. All right, now I'm going to ask you to explain this one, Scott, because I know that this is something that comes up quite a bit in your conversations, and that's if you're a company admin.
If I'm a company admin.
If you're a company admin, remember Joe, our company admin?
Yeah.
Joe can actually transfer contact ownership of company-owned leads.
If it is a company-owned lead, that is true. He
Correct.
cannot transfer a lead if it belongs to anyone else that belongs to an agent. He cannot transfer that lead.
Correct. And because it does give up ownership of their own leads, and so if it's a company-owned lead and he's transferring that contact over to me, Kelly Bajarski, Joe's not going to have visibility into that lead anymore. And this is not a undo, there's no undo button on this. It can't be undone by the admin themselves, which means once that lead is gone, what's going to happen to the visibility there, Scott?
Well, you're not going to be able to see it anymore if privacy is enabled by the agent.
Mhm.
So the agent, most agents, I'm not going to say all companies actually have this option, but the majority of them do have the ability to have individual agents keep their leads private.
Mhm.
So let's say that I imported my sphere of influence into KV Core. And by the way, if you haven't imported your sphere of influence into KV Core, come on, do it.
You
Look at
got
the
to.
sphere playbook. Let's get going. Anyway, that being said, if I've done that, I can go ahead and hit my settings and I can say make contacts private. These are mine and I own them. Therefore, I can feel comfortable bringing my sphere, my contacts into KV Core and have those just be mine. There's no excuse not to build your pipeline.
Right.
Now, then if the company gives me a lead,
Now it's
then
mine. It's
that
mine,
lead,
mine.
that lead is if the company assigns a lead, right? If it's routed to me, let's say the company is doing some kind of marketing and I had a lead route to me. Well, the company owns that lead, but it is assigned to me. I'm the assigned agent with that lead, but I cannot keep that private from the company. That is a lead that the company owns, therefore they're able to look at it.
So
So
here's a perfect
ownership matters.
example. Yeah, ownership matters. So here's a perfect example. This lead, this IRE test, is owned by the company,
Mhm.
but it's been assigned to the agent Leon. And so therefore, even if Leon has lead privacy turned on, he doesn't own this lead. It's owned by the company. Same thing applies with the
Company can
teams.
see it.
And so the
Admins
company
can
can
see it.
see it. Admins can see that one. So keep that in mind, that
Not
ownership
other
matters.
agents, though. Mind you, not other agents. If they're not company admins,
Mhm.
then if they're not admins, they can't see it. Nobody else sees your leads.
Mhm.
If they're your leads and you own them, you can hit those buttons and only you see them.
Mhm.
If it's a company lead and it's assigned to you, then only you and the admins for the company can see them, nobody else. And just want to make sure you see that.
Yeah, and so here's an example where Catherine owns the lead, and Catherine's also the assigned agent. That pretty much goes hand in hand, right, for the most part. And Catherine has lead privacy enabled.
Try to
So,
click on that, will you,
right,
Kelly?
I can't click on it. Big fat nothing comes
Nothing
up.
you can do.
I
Yeah.
can't click on it. I can't access it. I can't delete it. I couldn't go in and there's no way for me to select it to export it. I can't do that
And
because
again,
lead privacy is enabled.
and
So
it's
that's
great.
important.
It's great that Catherine has the ability to do that and bring in her personal contacts without worrying. A lot of
Exactly.
times that prevents agents from bringing them in. Now, having dealt with a lot of people in most of these companies, a ton of these companies that I run into, they want you to bring in your spirit. They're not looking to do anything with your people, but it gives you satisfaction
Yes.
and personal confidence to
Sure.
be able to build your sphere, knowing that you're able to do that and nobody can take that lead from you.
Now, you said something, Scott, that is a great segue into our next topic, which is sharing a contact. Because while you can, you absolutely have that lead privacy enabled, there is a way to give visibility without giving up ownership. You don't have to give your lead away to make it visible for somebody. You can actually share a contact. And so Terry's option as an agent, because remember, all agents can do this, is that they can share a lead that they own to any agent or admin within their KV Core account. Again, you're not limited to having to be part of the same office or team within the KV Core. So if Terry wants to share a contact with somebody over at that River Blue office, even though they're in the Greenville office, absolutely, you can share visibility into a to really anybody using the same KV Core account. Now I'm going
That
to
was
stop here
really
for a
well
second.
said. That was really, really well said because visibility is what you're sharing.
You're sharing visibility, not ownership. And
Correct.
that's the key thing to remember, is that there's
And
oftentimes there's use cases scenarios, like maybe I've got a really great relationship with a couple of agents over at the River Blue office, and I'm going on a well-deserved vacation for a month in Aruba, and I want somebody to be able to view my leads in case of an emergency. I can give sharing visibility into my contact and know that I can sit, and drink my Mai Tai on the beach and know that my leads are going to be taken care of.
if you shared your lead with Bobby, what can Bobby do with the lead? Can Bobby change the lead around? do different stuff with it?
Well, there's a couple things that they can do. It's important to know that sharing gives visibility. It does also sometimes give editing permissions, and some ability to communicate with your leads. So there's a couple things that you need to know. One, you can only share a contact or share a contact to another user within your own KV Core account. So let's use this example. Let's say that Scott, that's you, Scott. Scott's joined the, we'll say the Greenville office. Scott is now a new agent at the Greenville office, but Scott came from a company where, or came from a background where he has always had his own CRM, and he's been using KV Core long before he joined up with ABC Realty. And he decided he wants to keep using his own KV Core account. He's not opting into the one that's being provided by ABC Realty. He's using his own. So if Terry wanted to share a contact with Scott, even though he's part of the Greenville office, he's not using the same KV Core account. And so you can't share, even though technically he's technically part of that office, he's not using the same KV Core account. There's no way to share that information. So you're going to have to find a different way of doing it. You're going to have to send him an email and or give him information so he can manually add that into his own KV Core account. And by the way, little pro tip here, see this little arrow? It's going to point in either direction on your smart CRM. That gives you a little visibility so you can easily recognize those contacts that have been shared. So this icon will display. So let me give you a good example of it in real life.
How do I know who's been shared?
Exactly. So
Art.
here's Team Jenna, and here's Bert the buyer, or Bart the buyer. You see there's that little icon, and I can actually click into this, and I can go into his contact record, and I can come down here, and I can see who and manage who has access to sharing privileges into
Now,
this.
all of these people have the ability to, they're shared with everybody, but you have different privileges. Like you made Don an editor.
Yep.
And how come you only made me a viewer?
Well, you know what? Because you're just really keeping an eye on, make sure that Dawn's doing her job.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine. So I get all the visibility and none of the work. Okay,
that's right. All the visibility and none of the work. That's exactly right. So it's important to know that it's all about visibility. And when you share with that view only, or those, it's view and edit, it's those editor permissions. View only allows them to access the contact record information, but it does let them see the contact timeline. So they can really, stay up to speed on what's going on, but it doesn't allow them to edit any of the information. Okay, they don't, it's pretty much just like view only. That's why, hence the name. But editing allows the shared user to access and edit all of the contact information on the left-hand side. So that means that if Dawn, as you saw here, Dawn is an editor. If we go back here to those people that are editors, Dawn's an editor. And so Dawn can actually go in and change Bart's name, Bart's email address, add an address, things like that. Okay. And because I can go in and I can send communications out, that's important to understand too, what happens if somebody who has been given shared privileges, what happens when they start communicating. So when they start communicating with your contacts, because remember, they might need to send out a CMA, or they may need to send an email with an update. It is actually going to go, yeah, Anthony. So if you've shared them and you've got those editing privileges, you can actually go in and send an email or a text. But if you do, Anthony, what's going to happen is it's going to go out as if it's from the owner of that contact. So in this case, Terry shared a contact with Kelly, an agent from the River Blue office, and then Kelly decides to send a CMA, Terry's sitting out on the beach in Aruba, via email to that contact. That email is going to go out as if it was from Terry. So even though technically Kelly's the one that sent it, at the bottom of the email, it's going to say, from your realtor, Terry.
Kelly can make Terry say whatever.
Right. So exactly. So it's important to know that distinction. So if you are communicating out, what you should think about is maybe adding in your own email signature, or maybe adding in a little blurb at the bottom of your communication that says, I'm sending this on behalf of Terry, helping Terry out. she's sitting on a beach in Aruba. So it is important to understand that when you're sharing a contact, those communications that get sent out from KV Core are going to appear as if they are the agent who owns the contact. Good question. Good question, Anthony. And so what happens when that contact has been shared or transferred? Well, guess what? Whoever is that user that's getting that lead shared with them or getting that contact transferred to them, they're going to get notifications. I did a bunch of practicing last night, and I know that Scott woke up this morning and had a bunch of notifications in his inbox saying, hey, you got a lead shared with you or transferred to you. So that's really nice. That's a nice little user convenience there. I don't know if you caught this or not, but yes, you can share to more than one person. So in this case, if you share with multiple people, they all have those same viewing privileges. And if they are an editor, they can actually maintain the privileges of removing other people as well. So something to think about. Okay, so any other questions about transferring, sharing? Sharing is caring. That's what I always say. Scott, do you have any pearls of wisdom about this? I know that this comes up quite a bit when you're chatting with folks.
No, I think the being able to share with multiple people, and in some cases have them be editor, where there are some groups here who want to be able to manage a couple different functions for the lead, but want different people doing them. I think that's helpful, that you can have more than one editor.
I think so too. And
However, the
go
fact that
ahead.
the messages always come from the same person is something that definitely it needs to be remembered.
Right, right. And that's when you're sharing. Now, so if you want those communications to be changed, you're going to have to transfer it. And again, remember, transferring gives up
Gives up
the
ownership.
ownership. It gives up ownership, and then all those communications revert over to whoever is the new owner. Yeah, that's important to understand. Of course, the exception of that is with like company-owned leads or team-owned leads, because while they're owned by an entity, those communications go out from whoever is the assigned agent.
The assigned agent.
And assigned is different. Assigned is really like who's communicating with them. It's like who's working that lead. So if you don't have in your Smart CRM, this is my pro tip. It should be turned on by default, but if you go to your Smart CRM and you go over here to the columns at the top here, make sure that you have owned by and agent enabled. Okay, both of these, because owned by has to do with who owns that lead. That'll give you a lot of insight into what can be done with that lead. And agent tells you who's the agent that's assigned to work that lead. Okay, so if you don't see that here, you can edit them in the columns section. Some people have, I have a few things turned off here just because I usually work out of screens here. So, but if you don't see owned by, make sure you turn that on. And if you don't see agent, make sure you turn that one on. Okay, remember, gray is off, blue is on. Question, if you have a lead on a campaign and you transfer to an agent, does it bring over your campaign or does that campaign stop? Ooh, good question. Scott, you want to field that one?
No.
No?
No, if you have a lead and you transfer that lead from one agent to another, is it going to carry over the campaign that you just had? I'm not sure. I don't think so.
I believe the answer is no. It does not transfer the campaign, because that was a campaign. Yeah, it was a campaign in your library. Yeah. And it's not.
There's no guarantee that same campaign's in the other person's library.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. So yeah. So make sure that you have your, when you've got those in place, that you've got campaigns that are ready to go. Good question. Okay, so that's what I had on transferring and sharing, and we have a few more minutes left. So what else have you guys got? What else is on your mind today? We've got a couple of people here standby to help. Scott?
While you're fielding those on that last thing, if you guys are unsure about campaigns and triggering, Complete Guide to Smart Campaigns is super helpful, and it's sitting in your support documents in your support center.
Yep.
So if you're in your dashboard and you go to your support center, and you typed in Smart Campaign or whatever, there's a complete guide to Smart Campaigns that will give you everything that you need to know. And it's broken down as you look and you scroll down these article sections. It is broken down for you. So you can look at only specific things. Only specific things. You don't have to go through the whole article. Although I do recommend going through the whole article if you're going to play with the campaigns, because
Well, you know what? That's
they're
a
well written with a lot of thought.
They really are. And each time frame next to it just gives you an idea about how long each section is. So, I mean, obviously, if you want to go through the entire thing, set aside a little bit of time. But if you're looking for just a specific topic in here, you know,
This
it's
one
going to
was
be
on triggers, for
yeah,
example.
1 minute
Yeah.
read, not a big deal. Now, I will tell you the great companion webinar that we have for this was done through KV Core Success Meetups. And it's actually part of our master, we call it Mastering KV Core. That's a separate playlist that we have, Mastering KV Core. And we took a lot of our success meetups and we broke them down into like, what are the top probably 8 or 9 ones that I think everybody needs to know. And we have Smart Campaigns, the basics, and Smart Campaigns, creating your own. This was a 2-part KV Core Success meetup that will walk you through pretty much the complete guide to Smart Campaigns, everything you need to know about it. So as
Awesome.
bonus, I'm going to give you this whole playlist. Pop that in here. Make sure you bookmark this one as well.
Thank you.
Mastering KV Core. Tools for success. Oops.
I like that. Every way to add search alerts. Hey, search alerts, valuations, and market reports are your 3 great incubators. Everybody should have at least one of those.
100%. How to do lead generation using landing page ideas and how to use them. Multi-property squeeze page, a deep dive into that one. That's a really great one for targeted audiences that you're trying to attract for lead gen. There's your Smart Campaigns. You know, everybody always asks me, what do I need to do all the time in KV Core? What should be my best practices? Well, this monthly check-in gives you, these are the things you need to be doing on the regular basis. So if you're looking for, you know, a monthly check-in list, this is a great webinar to check out. Of course, everybody is always asking, hey, how do I personalize my website? What are some really cool widgets that I can do? So making custom widgets on your website is a fun way to add some personality, some local real estate content. And so this is a great section where you can learn about that. Of course, every which way to add search alerts. That is one of the most, it's probably the number one high value piece of content that an agent can send out is properties. Why? Because everybody is a nosy neighbor. Everybody loves to look at McMansions, those great big fun.
Yep.
You know,
as long as I've been
loves
doing this,
HGTV, right? It's those
almost 20 years now, I have looked at the NAR surveys of buyers and sellers every year. And why do you go to the internet? Why are you going to the internet? To look at pictures of houses for sale.
Look at pictures of houses for sale. So make sure you understand every which way to add those search alerts. That's going to be giving them what they want. For those agents, and there's a lot of folks out there that are just getting started and you are looking for ways to, you know, really just create your own book of business, and you're not ready to take a deep dive into lead generation, you just need to start with the basics. Use the 10 by 10 method to get 100 contacts into your database just using your sphere of influence. This is a really great method. It's a strategy on how to group the people that you know and bring them into the platform. And then, you know, who doesn't like to send fun and fancy emails using the advanced email editor? And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, we actually have 2 different ways that you can create emails. The first one is, let's just go into any random contact here. Let's go into IRE test, is that you can send an email and use this basic editor, which is, I think, probably the one that you would use when you're sending conversational emails. When you're sending short, real personalized messages, you just use the basic one. And so you know, and of course you can always use merge tags as a way to make them look personalized if you're sending them to people in mass. You know, you always want to include their first name in there. So you can use merge tags to make them look personalized. But this is for conversational stuff. But if you're doing fun and fancy things like newsletters, or you want to send out holiday postcards, or you want to send out something with graphics, or maybe a video link or something like that, you can use the advanced email editor and really make it make it pretty. And it's super easy to use. It's very similar to just using building blocks to build out content blocks. And so maybe I want to add in a picture at the top. And then I want to add in a button that links people over to my valuation page. I want to always make sure people can get a hold of me through my social media. So I'm going to put all my social media links up here. And you know what? I suppose we should add some text into this and really start talking to people. So you build out these blocks using the advanced email editor, and it ends up making it look like a really well-crafted professional email that goes out. It's just a little bit more fun and fancy. That's what I call it.
Hey,
Fun
on
and
that
fancy.
last question, he was asking about activity timeline. I think they mean client journey. So yes, if you transfer a lead that's active, it'll stay active when it's transferred.
Yeah, the activity timeline goes with it. That's part of the contact record. So everything in the timeline right here, if you're
Oh, there you
sharing,
are.
yeah, if you're sharing or transferring, this all stays intact. This is associated with the contact record. It never changes. It's kind of the source of truth for your content,
And it
which
won't
is
change its
why
status either.
no. And that's a good point out. So like if I go into Bart Buyer here and I look here, this will also show you, and this is why it's important, because you sometimes need to do a little discovery and figure things out. And so you can see here who the contact has been shared with. Contact was shared with all of these people yesterday. These are the ones
And
I
if you
was
transferred that to me today, all that stuff would still be in there. The status would
correct.
remain the same.
Yep.
But you might not have the same campaigns be active. You might have to put them on a different campaign or put them on a campaign yourself.
Correct. Yep. Yep. Well, that's all I had for today. I'm glad we were able to run through a couple of scenarios on my favorite YouTube channel, which is our Inside Real Estate KV Core Success Meetup playlist.
Awesome.
Scott, you have anything that you want to share with everybody?
The same thing I always say to everybody is that pipeline equals paycheck. How many people you talk to about real estate today is going to determine how much money you make tomorrow. And if you're not blocking time specifically to find, 3 to 5 new people in your pipeline every day, and this is for the agents, then, you're not on the path that you need to be on to generate the income through this that you probably want to. So make sure that you're blocking time to pump your pipeline full of fresh individuals and talk to them. There's a plethora of ways to do that. Those are all in these courses that you're looking at, but it's also all on our YouTube channel. And so in addition to that, if you're an admin, if you are an owner, if you are a broker, if you are a team leader, then, the same thing is, are all the agents under you, are all the agents in your office, on your team, in your organization, are they all pacing with a minimum of 3 to 5 new contacts every day, 5 days a week? Are they generating that? If they are, then everybody's marching in the right direction to really have a lot of success for you in your program. If you're not, then that should be a top initiative. And whether it is happening because the company entity is providing those leads to everybody, or whether the agents are empowered to do that themselves, or a combination of the two. Hey, get consistent at 3, get consistent at 5. And then if you have the time and the energy, get it to the moon. Either time or money, one of the two is
You're
all
going to
you
be
need in order
spending
to
something.
generate
Yeah,
prospects.
I always tell people, for lead generation, you're going to be spending something. You're going to be spending your time, energy, and effort, or you're going to be spending money out of your bank account. Either way, you're spending some sort of currency, sweat equity or actual equity, right?
Yep. And the fastest answer to revenue is more people.
It's the fuel that powers the pipeline. I always tell people, you know what, you have leads that you don't even know about. They're going to be leads that are either in your sphere of influence, people your past clients, or people you just haven't met yet. And so if you haven't explored how to do lead generation using the tools in the platform, free is my favorite price tag. So I know that a lot of us are also on budgets of some sort. So I'd rather put in a little sweat equity and learn how to do a good marketing strategy using these tools. But these are tools. These
Agent
are
Quick Start 4.
Right. Agent Quick
Agent
Start
Quick
Part
Start 4.
And if you are looking to, just start with your sphere of influence, people that you know, your friends and family list. Here's that 10 by 10 method that I told you about. You can come in here and you can get this quick 10 by 10 that's going to walk you through. There's even a downloadable spreadsheet, so you can start adding those contacts into a sheet that you can upload. Start with people you know, people based on their homeowner status, people based on your friends and family list, any community connections you have. Do you know people from church, from small business owners, vendors, PTA, school staff? People who have new life events. This is how a lot of really successful top producers niche their market, is they base them on people who have life event changes. Folks that are just married, maybe they're going to be expanding and needing to sell a house so that they could move into a house together. Maybe they're thinking about getting a bigger house. Newly divorced,
Wow.
empty
Lots,
nesters,
lots and lots of
right?
people.
Lots of different niches based on life events. And that's a great way to create a specialization in real estate. Careers and education, people that you went to school with, right? People, former coworkers, people that in different professions. Use that as your targeted market. And don't forget about the people that you're social with. Use your Facebook friends, LinkedIn friends, Instagram, other people that are following you. Find ways to connect with them, and then find a way to get them into your database, right? Get them into KV Core.
Yep.
So this is a great 10 by 10, easy place to start for those of you that are just struggling or just need a quick refresher. I tell you what, Scott, I pull out the 10 by 10 usually twice a year. I try to pull
Yep.
it out so that I can twice a year add at least 100 new people that I hadn't even thought about adding before. And it's a great tactical exercise to go through.
Yeah. And you know what? Every time I lock in on that, 6 months later, I forget about it. I stumble on it again and I go, why aren't I pushing that more? But
Well, there you go. Well, thank you, everybody. I don't see any other questions. Did I miss anything in the Q&A? Oh, I did. Hang on one second. Is there a specific, is there a specific email template to ask my contacts to provide me with a review? A testimonial. I don't know if we actually have a template in a specific one. Scott, do you know of a template to ask for reviews?
um,
I don't
a
think there is a
template to
specific
ask for
one.
reviews, I think
Yeah.
that's something that you can make,
Well,
that
you
you should make.
100% can
Although,
make one for sure.
although definitely check the Sphere playbook or check the closed campaign. If you look at the closed campaign,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is
In
in
my
the KV Core
campaigns,
library, I
in the
believe,
default. Oh, yeah.
there is something in there.
Yeah, because I think we talk about that. Hang on. Default.
Got to be in the library.
Let's go to the library. I'm
Oh,
in
yeah.
Jenna's account, so I don't know what she's got in her library or not.
Right, she hasn't pulled it into her campaigns yet.
Yeah. Closed.
But if we
By
go
the way, for those of you
closed,
that are wondering what these are, the My Campaigns are it's where your campaigns sit that you can use. There's extra campaigns that are in the KV Core library, and then templates are like emails, text templates, things like that. But let's go and see if there's an actual template or a templates you can
there we
use.
go. Ask for referral day 90. There's an email.
Oh, here it is. Okay, perfect.
Right
And
there.
it says, hey, first name, I really enjoyed working with you. I'm trying to build my business, and referrals are the best way for me to meet new clients. Would you be willing to recommend me?
Now, if you have a link to send them to your Google reviews, if you have a link to send them to your Zillow review, absolutely pop those in there. You can edit these.
Yeah, 100%. So in what I would do is I would look for the name, which is the ask for referrals. That's the name of the template. And then I'd go clone it,
Yep.
paste it in here, see if we can find it. Why isn't it working for me? Well, let's try it. It was an email. It wasn't a text, was it? Let's see if I just type in ask.
No, it was that one was an
Sometimes when
email.
I do copy and paste on here, ask for a referral. Well, maybe I lied.
What was the exact name of that anyway?
That was it. Ask.
Was it?
Was it an email? Maybe it was. No, there it is. You know what? I just had to be smarter than the computer. So there it is. Ask for referral 1. So what you're going to do with this one, Tony, is you're going to.
Oh, there's 3 of them.
There are 3 of them. Yeah. You're going to clone it, give it a name that you'll remember. Pro tip, I always recommend throwing your initials in here because as you just saw, sometimes finding templates is not always the easiest. So, but I will always remember my initials. So if I just type in KB, it's going to pull up any templates that I've cloned and created. So I'd probably just do KB ask for referrals. I'm going to take out copy because I don't need that in there. Don't forget to add a subject. Make it appealing so somebody's going to open it. And here's that conversation one. Remember I told you this was built in the basic one. So it's got a merge tag in here. And if you wanted to put, you know, if you want to add anything else in here, link to my Google review. I would probably just hyperlink this using this little hyperlink button right here. And then I'm going to pop in the link to my Google reviews, or if you have another place where you
Awesome.
capture reviews, you could do that here. Speaking of reviews and testimonials, did you know, Scott, that in order to get a testimonial to appear on your website, there's
You
only
must first create one manually.
you must first create it manually. That is correct. So in your web and IDX section where your testimonials live, this is where you can add a testimonial. So if they give you that Google review, come over here and paste it right in here and tell us who wrote it and add
What
it.
that also means is, let's say that you've gone ahead and punched into your website what you need for your testimonials for all your Zillow reviews to come through, and you can't see them. And it's got you frustrated because I can't see it. I put it in. Where is it? It won't show until you put one manual in there.
Yeah.
So take one review that you have, add it manually into the system, and then poof, those Zillow reviews, Google reviews, those will come in.
Yeah. And let me show you what we're talking about here. And I'll just pull up my own personal demo dashboard. What Scott's talking about is on your website, after a slight but dramatic pause, here's my little demo site. Down at the bottom where the testimonials live, past your featured areas, right here. If you don't see this
Gotham.
widget, I know you like my areas, Metropolis.
Yes.
Yeah, Gotham City and Atlantis. If you don't see this widget right here, this little section, that's basically what a widget is. It's a section. It's because you don't have any testimonials added. So if you want to go in and add them, and you can scroll through here. And as you can see here, the first one I put in was for my kids. We think Kelly is an amazing realtor. So I added this so I could get it visible on my website. So that's what Scott's talking about. And what you can do to connect them automatically is connect your Zillow reviews. So we don't have anything that connects automatically with your Google reviews, but we do have Zillow. So you can actually go in here and connect with your email and screen name in Zillow, and then they'll funnel right in. Those Zillow reviews will funnel right in, which I did not do on mine, but you can. Yeah, you know what, Tony, I agree. Sometimes it's hard, but you know, it's like any type of scripting, the more you ask for it. And I think that that's a really soft way of asking for it politely. It's also timing when you're asking for them. I don't have any problem going back to anybody I know in my sphere, my friends, my family list, vendors that I've used, people that I have talked to in the past, and I'll go back to them and say, hey, you know what? I am always looking for different ways to build my business, and the best and the quickest way for me to build out my business is usually from a referral. Would you be willing to put some kind words on my website for me? And it doesn't even have to be from people that I've actually done real estate with. You know, get a think of it as like a letter of recommendation. Sometimes you get letters of recommendation from like other vendors that you've worked with, your title reps, your escrow. Start with people that you know. Yeah. That's a good point, Tony. Tony's question was, I have the most difficult time asking for reviews or testimonials from clients, even though we had a really most favorable relationship. So it's just a matter of scripting. Yeah.
Timing's good. And it's one of those things that you can pepper into your longer term communication plan as long as you're offering value.
Yeah.
At the same time.
It's a great way to provoke a response too, is to just touch base with somebody. Hey, I'm up. And this is what I've done in the past too. I've sent a mass text out and I've said, hey, I'm updating my website, giving it a refresh for the spring. Do you have any kind words that I could put in my review section? I'll send it out to everybody. Right.
I love the way you asked that, by the way. I think it's It
Well-
doesn't sound pushy at all.
Well, you know what I'm doing? I'm making it an obligatory statement. People
Right.
love to help people. I really believe that for the most part, people like to help. And so when you ask them in a way that, hey, this would be really helpful for me if when I'm updating my website, if I could put some updated, fresh, new reviews on there, do you have any kind words that you could say? Right?
Yeah, Kelly, one more thing,
Mhm.
because you just teed me up for this. And this is what I was talking about before. If you are not building your sphere, if you are not putting it together, and here's a shameless plug. Can you pull up the YouTube channel again?
Yeah.
If you are not putting together your sphere, you can't do this. You know, you can't communicate with them. You can't generate the testimonials.
We have nobody
And
to
if,
talk to.
right, if you scroll down a little bit for me.
Is this on this is the mastering your playlist, or do you want the?
No,
the-
no.
the
Go
total
if
one?
you go to
Oh, here we go. Yep.
the
Here it
video
is.
link off of there.
Yep.
And
What are we
just
looking
down to the creating a pipeline, sales pipeline. Guys, if you don't have that pipeline built, if you haven't imported, there it is, start a sales funnel to build your pipeline. If you guys haven't done that yet, look, my last name needs to be edited. But anyway, if you haven't done this yet, if you haven't
Started a
imported
sales funnel.
your email contacts, if you haven't imported everybody out of your email yet, if you don't have a plan on how to get all these people in, then who are you asking these testimonies for? You don't have your past clients in.
Yep.
Get them in there, do these things periodically and generate conversations. The stuff that Kelly's spinning right now is gold as far as how to ask for stuff like that. But if they're not in your pipeline, then how are you doing this?
You got nobody to talk to. That's right. You got nobody to
You
talk
know
to.
what the retirement plan for real estate is?
What?
Whatever you want it to be, because there isn't one.
That's
You have
right.
to create it for yourself. And so what you might want to do is build something tangible in terms of a well-maintained database and pipeline
Oh,
that
good
you might
point.
be able to monetize later in
Super good
life.
point. Hey, we've got one question from Mike. I think that'll be our last question
Awesome.
today. We got about 2
Hi, Mike.
minutes. Mike, I turned on your microphone, so feel free to unmute. Unless you already asked and I missed your question, which is possible, but feel free to hold down that space bar or unmute your microphone. I see your hand in the air. And maybe you're multitasking or you don't have a microphone. If you don't have a microphone, go ahead and just pop it into chat or Q&A, or maybe you asked your question.
Type it.
I think Mike is
Something.
multitasking. He got the phone call of the day. He's taking a listing right now.
Oh, I like
He's all
that
good.
idea.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being part of our success meetup today. As I mentioned earlier, this is recorded. While you will not be getting a copy via email, please come to our YouTube channel and ring that little bell. You'll get notified when the new webinars get added. This will be posted as soon as Heather comes back from her well-deserved vacation. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Scott, thanks for being my success
you.
buddy. Always, always fun. I always
learn things from you, Kelly. So I'm
well,
glad
you
to
know
be
what?
here.
You. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the session. And now it's time to get off this one and go sell a house. Have a
There
great
we
day,
go.
everybody.